In all chaos, there's a cosmos. So, as Carl Jung used to talk about, and he used to relate astrology to the mind, to the psyche, to the horoscope, a big part of his psychological studies was towards the mystical, the introspection within, the planets within, everything that plays within us, the energies within. All of that are the structures, the cosmos, of a specific time and location. Your birth chart forms a cosmos, so it's astronomy first, and then astrology. Always remember that when you're trying to understand astrology, it's always applying astronomy first, because all of these planets, the energies within you, but it's not a pseudo made up thing. It's a scientific way to understand your psyche and the structure within your ego, your moon, the sun, the cycles, and how the energies could possibly affect you. But you have the power to, with self-awareness, use your psychological tools to not get influenced by certain energies. That's using your horoscope, your yearly time birth chart, and how those energies play out with the current time and birth wherever you are in the current moment. So basically the horoscope in a certain year helps you see how your psyche plays out, because your sun is your ego. You look at the sun and you see that it's like the pioneer of every other planet. It's the one that's carrying the energy. It's the one that's kind of like organizing all the other planets, all the other elements. So the sun is the one that carries the energies. We see the sun in a day, in the cycle, when people are doing actions, when people are working. In the moon, we rest. That's when we're internally, in introspection. That's why the moon is emotions, it's mood, it's what's internal, what people don't see. It's your feelings, your emotions, the chemicals within you that make you, you. Everything else, it's more external. So Venus, Mars, Saturn, the sun could be things that are affecting you externally. Could be people, could be things, or could be energies within you. That depends on your own unique birth chart. And all of the energies, all of the aspects, the elemental structures, the signs, the archetypes, all play a little percentage that form the uniqueness of the individuation of your psyche, becoming self-aware of oneself. And instead of seeking outwardly for psychological advice and going to psychologists to look for tools or to look for external treatments, Jung was more interested in what is it internally that we could use to understand ourselves and to develop that power within us to heal ourselves and psychologically evolve and understand our psyche to form our individuation and reach our highest potential in terms of the psychological aspect of our shadow self and everything that's deeper repressed within us that make us us, the good aspects of ourselves and the bad aspects of ourselves. Both of those that we have to find the polar balance to become ourselves. The way Lisa Fieldman, which she is a professor in my school actually, and a very known neuroscientist and psychologist, the misconception of emotions is that they're collective experiences. We know the 7 main basic ones being sadness, fear, joy, disgust, happiness. When we perceive someone as showing these types of facial structures, we automatically categorize what they feel. We automatically perceive what they feel, the emotions they're having at the moment. So we judge them. We misjudge how emotions are subjective, unique, introspective experiences that are developed within us depending on what we like, what we dislike, structures that shape who we are, depending on the mood we're having, depending on the emotions we're evoking. That's what's going to drive and carry the sun and moon energy. The rising sign is your 360. So where every planet is going to be played out depending on where your planets are. In what sign, in what house. That's uniquely shaped in your 360 astrological wheel. And that's how you start applying how the elements play out together. And then since my moon sign is kind of like in the mix of the 4th and the 5th house, but it's more in the 4th house, you can see that my emotions play out in a Capricorn way, also in a Sagittarius way, but it's in the 4th house. What is the 4th house? The 4th house is everything that deals with home, roots, what's internal. Everything that makes me personally comfortable is things that deal with the 4th house. It's the houses first, and then the signs stems from the houses. So the Cancer archetype came from the 4th house. The houses are more important because they're the 360 of life. The ancient people categorize the signs with the archetypal animals. If you think about astrology and you think about the deepness of how each animal is represented by what the characteristics of each sign. So that's how we start to understand how unique astrology is when we apply it to ourselves. How the energies actually play out. It's not mixing the houses with the signs. They're different things that we have to apply differently. So when we look at our 360 wheel and how each of the 12 zodiac signs play out differently in our chart, and how each of our planets play out differently depending on the degree. So it's going to influence the sign it's in and the house, and then the planet it's in. How the planets communicate, that's also going to influence the influence it holds in your chart. So it's really complex, but it's a fun complexity because it's like when you understand it, you'll just get it, because it's like tapping into your own energy. So it's like playing with how the energies could be the scientific way of looking at astrology. For instance, in my chart, I have my sun sextile the moon. So what does that mean? That what I focus on my everyday and in my work, health, routine, everyday structure, which is my 6th house, which is where my sun falls at. So my sun is in the 6th house in a Pisces way, in a Pisces archetype, mixed with Aquarius. So what do I like to do? I like to share my perspectives. I like to communicate about the way I think. I like to communicate about the psyche, the mind. I like psychology. I like the collective unconsciousness, which is the Pisces archetype. Pisces is about emotional intelligence. It's about the unknown, the dreaminess. Pisces is seen as a little elusive because they could be dream type archetypal, because they seem elusive at times just because they're in their own world. They could be very creative because they have that ability to go to another realm, and that could be like literally talking to someone else, and they could be like in their own realm, in their own head. So they're perceived as being in their own world because they just have that ability to tap into those creative aspects easier because they're emotionally intelligent. I briefly wanted to introduce how unique astrology is and how the planets all play out different things. The beauty of astrology, or the understanding of astrology, you have to look at the outside picture of the 360 of your wheel and understand how it all plays out uniquely when you attach it to the combination of it all. Because, for instance, me, going back to my example, I'm a sun sign in Pisces in the 6th house. So what I like to work on in my everyday is improving myself and trying to help other people by seeking into psychology. I like to connect a lot with people and the collective unconscious, and not trying to talk about me, but I want to give an example of that. My camera is actually glitching, so I'm going to have to do a part 2. But that's basically it for now, just like a basic understanding. You can go to astroseek.com or any other website and start to play with your chart and just start to briefly look at it. If you have any questions, just ask me and